Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. It's Monday. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available Christmas 2024, the album. Dad, shimmy, shimmy, yeah. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Boost! How are you guys doing today? Okay. Today, I'm going to talk about Trisha Paytas and the mysterious Jeffree Star podcast. Where is it? People are saying that she is not going to post it anymore. People are saying that she is deleting videos that she had up with Jeffree Star, videos that she talked about Jeffree Star. So where is the podcast? I had a source confirm to me that the podcast was coming out over a week ago. Confirmed that it was coming out from, I don't know how good that source's information is, but a source confirmed for me over a week ago that that podcast was coming out. Where is the podcast? So I want to talk about that today. I have many videos to make this week because I took the weekend off from filming drama videos over here. If you guys ever miss me, I do film on my vlog every single day. This weekend I filmed like an hour and a half one day, an hour and 45 minutes yesterday. It's like a podcast. If you like podcasts, if you're looking for a missing podcast, that's the podcast to go watch. I just sit over there and I just talk either outside in the bitter ass cold or inside with candles lit, outside with candles lit as well. And I just tell stories of my life and let you guys know what's going on with me. Anyway, I have so much fun over in my vlog. I love my vlog and I vlog almost every single day over there. So anyway, but I did take the last couple days off and I got sent so much stuff in the last week to make videos about. So let me give you a little insider secret to what my videos are going to be this week. I keep a list. Videos this week, starting on 12/2. So I have all my videos for my Peter Does Stuff channel, my review videos, my Peter Watches TV channel. So I keep on getting comments over there. People are like, Peter, I didn't even know you started this channel. So for those of you that do not know, I have an entire channel. It's called Peter Watches TV. It's dedicated to just TV shows that I watch, and then I react to them. So for example, Sister Wives is on Sunday night. Every Monday, I do Sister Wives reactions. I'm kind of becoming known as a Sister Wives commentary channel. I know. Could you ever believe it? But no, every Monday, I have all my notes. I took all my notes from Sister Wives last night. And so I'll be doing that video right after I get done filming this. And then last night, I started watching, because I also do 1,000 Pound Sisters coverage, you know, with Amy and Tammy Slayton and all them. And so I do coverage of that like every Wednesday or Thursday. And so I'm looking for new shows to cover. I cover the Housewives over there. I cover all like the true crime. I just covered the JonBenet Ramsey documentary. I cover new shows that are out, like the Netflix shows that are out. I just finished watching The Madness with Coleman Domingo, so I'll be covering that over there this week. I've got tons of shows to cover, but I just started watching because a lot of people recommended to me 1,000 Pound Best Friends. Oh my God, have you guys watched this show? I just watched like the first 2 episodes last night, and I am hooked. I am so hooked on this show. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to binge watch that, and then I will be doing coverage of 1,000. I'll probably do a reaction to every season, and then it's on its 3rd season right now. So going forward, I will be doing 1,000 Pound Best Friend coverage as well. That show, it's kind of like 1,000 Pound Sisters with Amy and Tammy Slayton. It's like the same setup. They even go to the same doctor that they started at, Dr. Proctor in Atlanta. But it's fantastic. It is fantastic. There's a lot. It's very messy. So I love that. But I also had to take a break last night. Let me put on a little lip balm. I had to take a little bit of a break because for those of you that do not watch my BookTube channel, yes, I am still posting over on my BookTube channel regularly. Today on my BookTube channel, I will be announcing the 13 books, Christmas thrillers that I will be reading over there. And one of them, I'm very excited about this, okay? I think I have like 20 or 30 people doing this with me already. The majority of which I've talked about this online. And it is this book that I found on this Facebook group for thrillers, and it just came out this year, and it's by the author Per Jacobson, and it's called 25 Days, right here. And it says, this December, the countdown to Christmas will chill you to the bone. Okay, so let me tell you what's behind this. Now, I am going to link this in the description box below. It will be an affiliate link. So if you purchase from that link, okay, I will make money off of your purchase from buying this in the link below. And I'm going to start linking stuff. I had a long conversation about it on my vlog. We ain't going to get into it today. I'm actually going to do a December's Amazon favorites over here. That's coming in the next couple days. I've been making my list of things that I actually really do love and I use on a regular basis. Not just like these influencers that are like, oh my God, this piece of dust. I just bought it yesterday. I love it so much. No, but products that I really do stand behind, like oh my God, my candle wax melter, my wax melter that looks like a fireplace. I love that so much. But anyway, oh my God, or hold on a second. Did you all want a mini fireplace for your house? Okay, so I put this in my bathroom. It's from Infinite Objects, but you can also order on Amazon. Should I link this? I don't know. Maybe I will. Anyway, it's so when you open it, it just looks like a little picture frame. You can get these. They have all different kinds of things, okay? But when you take it away, look, are you ready? Are you ready for me to start the fire? Oh my God, this is so exciting. Oh, look, it's a fireplace. Look at that. It's a little fireplace. Is it upside? Oh, she's upside down. Okay. It's a little fireplace. Oh my God. And I put it in the bathroom while I'm taking showers. I light a candle. So cozy and stuff like that. So anyway, I'll link that below too. People have been asking me where I got it. So you USB charge it and things like that. But look what happens. This is the coolest thing of all. I don't know why I think this is so cool. But watch what happens when you put it back in the box. Oh my God, it magically turns off. I love it so much. But it's by Infinite Objects. You can buy it on their website, but I'll also link it below on Amazon because people have been asking me which size one I bought and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but getting back to, and that will also be an affiliate link, which means that if you buy off that, then I make money as well. I make a little small compensation. I think it's like 2 or 3%. Oh wait, here's the plug for that. I'll put that back in the box later. But anyway, can't be losing plugs. So this book, okay, I'm so excited about this book. My friend Nikki and I were texting each other last night because we both read the next part of it. And so she's like, I can't wait to read more of it. So what this book is, okay, it's about this family. And they go rent a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And there's this like serial killer. And he's like on the loose, right? And he leaves stuff in their stocking by the barn every day, okay? They have no electricity, no cell phones. They're stuck out in this barn and there's a snowstorm coming, okay? But here's the thing. It's an advent calendar book, okay? Which means, like, look, there's 25 chapters, okay? So here's December 1st. Okay, so you read December 1st on December 1st. So you can see I am on December 3rd because last night I read December 2nd. It was like only, the first chapter was like 16 pages. The second chapter was only like 9 pages. The chapters are real short. So if you buy it today, you can catch up. Oh, and by the way, I think it's free on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, I think this is free. And I have another book coming. I will link it below too. And it is called Xmas Break. And it is another 25 chapters. You read a chapter a day to count down to Christmas. Oh my God, it's so fun. Don't you love participating in group activities? Well, I didn't when I was in school, but a countdown book, like an advent calendar, but a book, I think it's genius, okay? I love it so much. I think I want to write one of these. I'm loving it so much. But then you have to stop at the chapter when it's done. You have to wait. So now I have to wait till midnight tonight. I'm so excited for midnight. I can't wait. So anyway, I will link all that stuff below, and if you guys want to buy it, buy it. If you don't, you don't, whatever. So anyway, okay, so let me tell you about the videos that I'm going to make this week over on my drama channel. So, oh, all my favorite 2024 Amazon products. But what I'm going to turn that into is just the ones that I'm using for December. Because I don't want to do like 50 links. I'm just going to do like 10 things that I'm using in December that are my favorites. Trisha cancels the Jeffree podcast. Oh, that's the video that you're getting today. We can check mark that one off. I have a Michaela Nagara video coming up. I have a Herb Baumeister Fox Hollow Farms update video coming up. I have a video about TikTok ads, some research that I've been doing on that. People have been asking me to cover the return of Deaf Noodles and him doing AI stuff, so I'm going to do that video. I have the most wanted item that has something to do with skincare, that is a little bit of a controversy and drama, so that I'm excited about that video as well. And then I'm also going to be doing the Brianna chicken fry video with my cousin Caroline because we were supposed to do it last week. I didn't bring my camera. She's like, just film it on your phone. I said, I don't really feel like it today. I just want to hang out. And so she was like, we'll bring it next week and we'll do the Brianna chicken fry thing. She said, but Brianna chicken fry will be over by next week because nobody keeps up with stuff that long. So those are the videos I have. And I have some other things I'm looking into as well. So let's get into the Trisha Paytas thing. Are y'all ready? Okay. So I started getting sent stuff about this. People are like, well, first of all, let me tell you what happened. So I did a video about 2 weeks ago, and I said that I thought it was interesting that Trisha Paytas hadn't posted. People were speculating that Trisha was going to cancel the podcast that she filmed with Jeffree Star. So if you guys don't know, okay, Jeffree Star has let out on Instagram and other places. He posted a picture of himself going to Trisha's house to film the podcast. So Jeffree Star himself, and this kind of plays into what I think might be kind of the shade of it all a little bit, okay? So he shows all these pictures and Instagram stories of showing up to Trisha's house to film the podcast, okay? That was probably about a month ago, or maybe 6 weeks ago. Now, one thing that we do know is that Trisha Paytas doesn't necessarily always post her podcast, like, right away. Like, she'll film a podcast, and then she might not post it for, like, 2 months, okay? So she has done that with some podcasts. Not all podcasts, but some she has. So it didn't surprise me that she didn't turn around and post this podcast with Jeffree Star right away, okay? But people were, like, you know, all excited about this podcast. A lot of people were, like, excited on Trisha's side. A lot of people were excited on Jeffree's side. But then the more that people looked at it, people that were really defensive of Trisha Paytas were like, I don't think this is a good idea. And for those of you that do not know what happened, Jeffree Star is going on kind of a podcast tour, okay? And the first podcast that he stopped at was the Tana Mojo canceled podcast, all right? And he went on the Tana Mojo podcast. I still have to cover that because I haven't even made it all the way through that nonsense. But on there, he said a lot of stuff. He called Tati Westbrook a horrible person. He acted like he and Shane didn't know anything about the drama that was going on at the time of Dramageddon, which is absolute just bullshit, okay? I mean, he and Shane literally flew a drama channel out there to watch the Tati video 4 days after it was posted, and they included it in the documentary to make it look like they were all watching it together when it dropped, which was absolute bullshit. And I knew about that when it happened. Everybody else did too that was behind the scenes. So it was very contrived. Shane Dawson got very caught up in the drama. People even speculated that the documentary wasn't really about the beauty industry. A lot of people, because people were rampantly commenting on my videos about it, saying that the documentary really wasn't about Jeffree Star in the beauty industry. The documentary was really about starting drama and then drama channels covering it, and that was really what it was about, was how beauty influencers deal with the drama behind the scenes. That's how big of a deal drama was back then, right? Like, let's remember that. So that's what people speculated. And then Shane Dawson decided he didn't really want to talk about the drama because he became part of the drama. He got pushed into a corner. And I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but he didn't fully complete that documentary the way that he said he was going to. They dropped the palette. They did all that. They showed a little bit afterwards. But he actually put out a trailer of what he was going to show as far as the drama, and then came out and said, I don't want to do that. He said, I don't want to be part of the drama. It's gone too far. I've left the circus. Y'all remember that? Okay, because I think sometimes people forget things. So when Jeffree Star gets on a podcast and he says, Shane Dawson and I, we didn't even know about the drama. We weren't part of that. That's 100% bullshit, okay? He knew that he and Shane knew that Tati Westbrook was dropping the video on James Charles. They were fully a part of all of that, okay? Do I think that they forced Tati's hand? No, she's a grown adult. But they were a very big part of that. Everybody behind the scenes knows how that all went down, okay? And that they were in her ear and they were talking to her and she's like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, well, maybe you should come out and let everybody know because you can't let this happen. You can't let him get away with this. And you also have to remember, right, that at that time before that video came out, James Charles was at his top of his game. Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star, to have the sales they had to kind of look like heroes a little bit in that situation, okay? So the best way to become the hero is to get rid of the villain or make somebody else the villain. Jeffree Star is constantly saying in videos, I'm always the villain. They've always wanted to make me out the villain. Well, in that moment, he was not the villain. James Charles was the villain, okay? And with James Charles as the villain, because he had done villainous things, okay, or he had done predatorial things and whatever, it did make Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star look like heroes in that situation. And everybody fell in love with them, and they sold the shit out of those palettes. Therefore, a cash grab, okay? But I've said this for a long time. The thing that people miss about this is that sale wouldn't have been as grand if it was James Charles was at the same numbers and they were friendly with him and he was like, congratulations, I have my Morphe palette, you guys have your palette, congratulations. They had to be the only and best thing at that time. And for them to do that, okay, they had to get rid of Shane Charles. They had to get him to be irrelevant. And their way of doing that was to use Tati Westbrook to come out with her video. So when people play into this, Shane and Jeffree didn't know anything about it, it's 100% bullshit. What it was business. Part of the reason why people like Manny MUA, Laura Lee, Nikki tutorials even, even Lipstick Nick has sided with James and things like that. A lot of the reasons why those people have stuck by James Charles' side, I do not believe, okay, is necessarily out of love, loyalty, or friendship of James Charles. I think it's common distaste of Jeffree Star and what he and Shane did to the beauty community. I really think that has a huge part to do with it. I think to this day, they're still pissed off, okay? Because Jeffree always says that Toddy and James ruined the beauty industry, but it was really Jeffree, okay, putting all those pieces in place. Because Jeffree Star used James Charles and the predatorial allegations as far as he needed to use them to push the narrative so that his stuff sold out. But after that, he fed that tape out, the voice note tape. We all know who the voice note's from. Everybody knows, okay? He fed that voice note out. He acted like this. He put out tweets that said, even my boyfriend won't allow you at our house because of, what he knows who you are and all this kind of stuff. But he's never spoken about it. He always hints at it, but he's never spoken about it. Enough time has gone by. Why don't you just speak about it? If you really have that much to say about it, why don't you really speak about it, okay? Why don't you come out and say, these are the things that I know about James Charles? Because you want to talk about how Toddy Westbrook is a horrible person. If Toddy Westbrook has done horrible things, what she's done is she lit the fire of the James Charles accusations, and then she redeemed him by saying that James Charles and I are good, and then she never addressed it again. That's mostly people's main issue with Toddy Westbrook, is that she gave James Charles an out, and then she never came back and addressed it, and said, she's unfollowed him, she doesn't follow him, she hasn't spoken to him, she doesn't speak of him. That's most people's issue with it, is that Toddy Westbrook has never addressed the allegations and come back out and said, you guys, I was wrong. They were 100% true. That's mostly people's issue with Toddy Westbrook, okay, is that she lit a fire she couldn't keep. And so if people have, what I've always been confused about is that if people have issues with Toddy Westbrook about that, why don't people have the same issues with Jeffree Star about that? I mean, the fact that Jeffree Star he's holding on to pertinent information. And then people are like, well, he doesn't want to hurt other people. He doesn't care about other people. Because that voice note, he's played for Keemstar. He's played for Logan Paul. I know people he's played that voice note for, okay? He doesn't care about those people. He just doesn't want his public perception to look like, oh, I'm going to F over these people that are really nice people on YouTube, okay? That's what he doesn't want it to look like. He's played that voice note every chance he can get. That's gossipy, okay? That's gossipy. He doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about the victims. He cares about what it can do for him. Well, I've never understood why people don't take issue with Jeffree Star for holding on to information that he knows or doesn't know about James Charles, the same way that Toddy Westbrook has. People come full hard for Toddy Westbrook on that, but they don't hold Jeffree Star the same standard. That's confusing to me, okay? But anyway, it's interesting because then you think, well, why won't he come out against James Charles? This would be the time to do it. Jeffree Star is irrelevant. I just looked on his new release that released last Friday. Jeffree Star was somebody that sold out of stuff all the time. This is where the TikTok sales do not match up for me, okay? Where Jeffree Star says he sells all this makeup, all of his products he sells them out on TikTok. Well, if that's the case, okay, why when you go to his website, Jeffree Star Cosmetics website, and you look at the 10-year anniversary of the Gold Blooded, okay? This was the biggest shopping weekend of the year. This collection came out. This is his 10-year anniversary. Of any of his sales, this should be the biggest sale he has ever put out, okay? That he has now the Gold Blooded Ultimate Bundle, the Gold Velour Liquid Lipstick Bundle, Gold Palette Bundle, Gold Liquid Frost Bundle, the Gold Liquid Star Shadow Bundle, the Gold Blooded Palette. He's got all of these highlighters. He's got on and on and on these lipsticks. And then you go to the bottom, he's got the Skin Frost Pro Palette. He's got a Legacy Glass tumbler. He's got a makeup bag. He's got a gold icon mirror. He's got a pink icon mirror, a gold cleaver, and a gold cleaver necklace. And none of it is sold out. Not one thing on this entire collection is sold out. So can somebody please explain to me the buffoonery of him saying that he is making all this? If that were the case, okay, like back in the day when he would sell out of stuff in like 5 minutes, it wouldn't show on the website. And then people will be like, oh no, he ordered all of this because he's selling so much on TikTok. I don't believe that. I don't believe that to be true. When Jeffree Star wants to come out and show those numbers as a business, I'll believe it. Until then, the shit's still available on his website, okay? So I don't believe it. Jeffree Star, in all of my years of covering influencer drama, and I've covered a lot of liars, okay? I've covered a lot of liars. Jeffree Star will lie about the most menial things, but his lies are intentional because, like, Trisha Paytas lies and shit just flies out of her mouth, okay? I think we know that at this point. Other people lie, and it's like to get them somewhere. Jeffree Star lies to paint a picture to make him look a certain way that he's not. To, like, paint relevance in a way that's not true, or to rewrite narratives that are not true. When I watched the part of that Tana canceled podcast with him, I just sat there mesmerized. Like, how is he getting on here and lying when he knows? I mean, there's at least 10 drama channels that were covering at that time. There's at least 20 makeup influencers, probably 100, that knew the real truth that was going on behind it. How does he get on this podcast and act like this is the truth of what he's talking about? Like, nobody's going to ever call him out about it. And guess what? Nobody calls him out about it. And you know why? 5 years ago, it was because people were afraid of Jeffree Star. Today, it's not because people are afraid of Jeffree Star. Today, it's because he's irrelevant. It's because nobody care about Jeffree Star today, okay? That's why I don't believe that he's selling shit out on TikTok. That's why, because if he was, then his website would be sold out, and Jeffree Star would be the first person to tell you that. Jeffree Star would be the first person to say, my entire website sold out in my 10th anniversary. Not one thing, girl. Not even a mirror. You haven't even sold out of your mirrors yet. Your fans, your diehard fans, haven't even bought up those 10th anniversary mirrors. Or the palette, or one liquid lipstick. Not any of that stuff hasn't sold out. None of it? Oh, but it's selling over on TikTok like crazy. Well, where's the inventory? I mean, the same inventory that you're selling on TikTok's got to be the same inventory that you're keeping in your warehouse that you're selling on your website. So if it's not sold out on your website, then it can't possibly be sold out on TikTok. It's bullshit. It's smoke and mirrors, okay? But he did this podcast tour. Which, what I was going to say about James Charles before is it makes you wonder if Jeffree Star won't come out, okay? And he won't fully talk about the James Charles allegations. And it's the one selling point that he literally has at this point, okay? Because nobody cares about his makeup reviews. Nobody cares about that stuff with Jeffree Star anymore, okay? If that's the one thing that he has, and we know that Jeffree Star, he don't care about nobody, okay? So if that is his only selling point, you think he wouldn't come out if he thought it was going to stir up enough drama to sell him some palettes? Then it makes you wonder, well, what does James Charles have on Jeffree Star, okay? Well, I think that if James Charles, back in the day, was wanting to get something on Jeffree Star, he was probably keeping tape recorders and phones, or not tape recorders, like we're the FBI from 1950. But he was probably recording Jeffree Star, okay? Like Jeffree Star supposedly tried to record Shane Dawson and get him to use offensive language that Shane Dawson told Gabby Hanna that Gabby Hanna told me, right? Which she's never addressed, and I've called that out in 50 videos. Shane Dawson's never addressed that, and I've called that out in 50 videos. Jeffree Star's never addressed it, okay? Yet Jeffree Star continues to have allegations of using that kind of language. What I believe is that Jeffree Star knows James Charles, or possibly thinks that James Charles or other people like Manny and Laura might have audio recordings of Jeffree Star talking about people or using really offensive language, okay? I believe that he believes that they have that. That's why he'll only go so far with his allegations. And I think that James Charles came out. You know what's interesting to me is a lot of people are talking about how Jeffree Star spoke so horribly about the former YouTube CEO, Susan Wojcicki, in his podcast with Tana Mojo. What's interesting to me about that is that Jeffree Star has always been somebody that holds a grudge for a very, very long time. When I heard that, yes, I thought it was horrible what he said about her, okay? I also wondered what the motive was. I was wondering why he disliked her so much. Now, we know in retrospect, okay, that she did interviews with James Charles. She sat down and talked to him, okay? We also know that at some point, okay, even though they say this isn't true, I've heard behind the scenes from multiple people that it is true, that YouTube stepped in, okay, with Toddy James and Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, all right? Well, could that person have possibly been Susan Wojcicki and said enough is enough, okay? And Jeffree Star didn't like how that whole thing played out, which is now why he's saying these horrible things about her. She can't defend herself. She's gone. So, yes, it's even, I mean, that's even more sick when you think about it in retrospect, that he has no problem saying horrific things about these people, you know? He knows that Toddy Westbrook's not going to come out and say anything about him. He knows that James Charles isn't going to, he knows that James Charles isn't going to go there again. That's what he's banking on, right? So he goes on these podcast tours and he says whatever he wants to say and he can get away with it, all right? So it goes on the Tina Mojo podcast. Now, the Tina Mojo podcast is important, all right? Because right after it came out, I said, because people were speculating that Trisha Paytas was going to cancel and not post the podcast, okay, of Jeffree Star. And I had said in a video that I believed that if she was going to post the podcast, she had made a deal with Jeffree Star to post the podcast at the beginning of last week, okay, of the week before Black Friday, or the week of Black Friday, because his gold anniversary was going on sale on I think on the 29th, right, or 30th, or 29th, which would have been Friday, Black Friday, okay, was when it was going up. So if he was going to post, she was going to post the interview. The podcast tour is all for sales, okay? I didn't believe that at first, but enough people have said it, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know, it's got to be true at this point. This is Jeffree Star 2016 returning to try to stir up drama. So he's doing this podcast tour, but also not just as the podcast, like stirring up drama, but also to talk about his anniversary release, right? And so if he was going to do it, I believe that he made some kind of deal with Tina or Trisha Paytas to release the podcast that early last week. So like on Tuesday or Wednesday, so that it would be out in preparation, and then everybody would get excited about the anniversary and they would buy the hell out of it. Well, she didn't release the podcast, okay? Now, when I came out and I did that video the week before Thanksgiving. I don't even remember what day it was, but I got contacted and somebody said, it is confirmed that Trisha is posting that podcast by the end of this week, okay? Now, that has to be somebody that I believe talks to Jeffree Star, Trisha Paytas. So, if that is true, that Trisha Paytas was planning to post the podcast at the end of the week before last week, then a whole week and a half has gone by and ain't no video going up, okay? Which is interesting to me, because if she was going to post a video, we know that that was to help him sell sales. That's why he was doing the podcast, okay? Do I really think that Jeffree Star wants to sit down with Trisha Paytas and mend fences? No, I don't think he gives a shit. I don't think he gives a shit about Trisha Paytas at all. I don't know that I really think that Trisha Paytas gives a shit to sit down with Jeffree Star and mend fences. Do I think she thinks it's good for views and things like that? Yeah. But I also do think, and I know a lot of people don't want to agree with this, I do think that Trisha Paytas has grown up quite a bit. And I don't think she's going to walk into traps that she used to walk into 5 or 10 years ago. Okay, I can remember Trisha back in the day and talking to her, and she was very smart about some things, but when it came to personal relationships, I do believe that she was a little bit naive about some things. Do I think she put herself in a situation where she looks stupid to her audience that she's worked so hard to build on her podcast? No, I don't. Okay, now if she made some contractual agreement that she has to post the podcast that she did with Jeffree Star, if she has to do that, you know, maybe she will do that. You know, I don't know. Maybe she will post it a week or now. But could it possibly be a little shade that she's going to post it on her timeline of when she wants to post it, not at the time? I mean, I'm sure the podcast is very kiss sassy. I think that's probably, in retrospect, why she's decided not to post it yet, okay? Is that maybe it's very much like, oh, Jeffree, water under the bridge. He's come out since then and said what people don't understand was there was really no beef between Trisha and I, okay? Like, we had a lot of good times in the past. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I remember how it went down, okay? You said horrible shit about Trisha Paytas to people that told it to me knew about what happened in Vegas. You said horrible shit about Trisha Paytas. Behind the scenes, on the scene, Hair by Jay came out and said horrible shit about Trisha Paytas. And you had no problem with your hairstylist speaking about women that way, speaking about human beings that way. Then you came out and performatively, like you always do, everything is performatively, okay? I mean, it's like literally look at your ad campaigns. It's like we got to make sure we have one of every type in your ad campaign. It's all performative. Everything that Jeffree Star does is performative, right? And so he comes out and he says, good morning to everybody except for the guy that does my hair. Basically letting everybody know, oh, well, he's done with Hair by Jay because Hair by Jay said this horrible shit to Trisha Paytas. And 2 weeks later, he's posting pictures of Hair by Jay doing his hair again. And Hair by Jay's still doing his hair. Go look at his pictures. He tags Hair by Jay in all of them. So he takes no issue with how Hair by Jay speaks about women. Why? Because Jeffree Star probably speaks about people that way. We know it in the past, you know? I just saw this clip on Dustin Daly's video talking about this very same topic, and he showed some TikTok, and I might cover this over here. Jeffree Star's talking about, in the old days, we used to, he's like, if somebody said something about you, we didn't take it to a tweet. We took it outside and fought. And I thought, whoo? Like, did you, all those clips of you calling people offensive names on the street when you were taking it to the fight? And he says in his TikTok clip, which is from just last week, he says, I think we should still do that. Oh, so you think we should still be shouting and screaming, pulling hair and fighting people on the street? So you really haven't changed at all, Jeffree, okay? At all. You haven't matured and you haven't grown, you haven't changed. That's a perfect example to me, you know? I thought it was a very pertinent clip to include in the video, because I was like, this is a perfect example that Jeffree Star hasn't changed. He's still talking to people the same way that he was when he got called out about it 10 years ago. All of his apologies are irrelevant and performative. They've always been that way, okay? Jeffree Star, there's a lot of people, Shane Dawson, Trisha Paytas, Toddy Westbrook. I mean, there's a lot of people that I can say that I feel like have changed over the years, all right, that I've covered. Jeffree Star is one person that consistently shows up in the same outfit. I mean, he is consistently the same person across the board, surrounds himself with the same people and all this kind of stuff. And really what's kind of sad about it is that nobody wants anything to do with Jeffree Star anymore. Back in the day, he was like, I'm cutting all these people loose. Who does Jeffree Star hang out with these days? Oh, that guy that he's acting like his boyfriend these days? Okay, girl, we're going to find out in 3 months that that's fake. Every boyfriend that he ever flaunted around, we found out later was fake, except for Nathan Schwandt. Let's not forget the whole thing about Jeffree Star, okay, doing this whole, where am I at on time? It looks like it's about to stop, and I haven't gotten to the Trisha Paytas stack. Oh, I got 10 seconds. Hold on a second. Pause. Okay, let's not forget when Jeffree Star acted like he was dating a football player, okay? And then people started speculating about who the football player was, and we're sending this one gal, okay, the wife of a football player, DMs, that her husband was cheating on her with Jeffree Star. It became a huge thing. Y'all not remember about? And Jeffree Star came out and said, maybe you need to clean up your own business and stop worrying about me. Basically insinuating that he was fucking her husband, okay? And said, maybe you need to stop worrying about me and blah, 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 whatever. And she was begging him to stop talking about it. And then you find out later there was no truth to any of it. He wasn't fucking nobody, okay? He wasn't fucking nobody but his hand. The only person he was fucking, okay, was somebody trying to come up with a good marketing idea. Because then it turned out that it was just about that guy's podcast that he was going to go on. But we had to act like it was this huge thing, right? That he's dating this football player. He even went to the Super Bowl because of that. It was all bullshit. It's all bullshit. I mean, it is so weird to me that at this point, like, you still... I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, the lies and the make-believe of all this kind of stuff. I think the saddest thing to me is this, is that if I had the money and the ability that Jeffree Star did, I would be writing that memoir that, you know, I mean, somebody would read it out there. Ain't nobody gonna read a memoir of Peter Monn. I know when I say that, a couple of you be like, I would, thank you. But not like Jeffree Star. I would sit down and write that memoir. If I really loved doing music, I would come out with all new music. Not just sit in my house with a keyboard coming up with MySpace music from Hi, how are you? 2001. Girl, no, that's embarrassment, okay? And then people are like, I can't wait for you to go on tour. Tour for who, girl? Who's he opening for with that music? Is it on a tape cassette? Or, I'm like, girl, I'm confusion, okay? Like, I'm confusion over that. It's like, what is the need to continue to make up like this illusion that none of us live that life anymore? I'm sitting on the bed in sweatpants and a t-shirt, okay? I brushed my teeth and washed my face to make this video. I ain't acting all grand. I don't understand the illusion of having to make up fake boyfriends. Are we in 6th grade? You know, does your boyfriend live in Canada? If that's why he can't ever come visit Jeffree Star, it's always that, right? It's always NFL players and rappers, but I can't talk about it because they're in the DL, right? Well, they're in the DL, which insinuates that these are straight guys, okay? That you're fucking. These are not gay men. These are straight men. The DL is, that's 1985 Oprah Winfrey show, okay? Or Geraldo Rivera, or, you know, Jesse Raphael. That's bullshit from the back in the day, okay? He doesn't say that. He says straight rappers, straight NFL players, and things like that. Can somebody explain to me why nobody takes an issue? I mean, I take huge issue with this, and I take a huge issue with Jeffree Star, or with James Charles, when James Charles is hitting on and being coercive with straight men, but Jeffree Star gets in a video and says the exact same thing, and I think that's a dig at James Charles. I think he gets in and he said it on Tana Mojo's podcast, and they don't bat an eye. Why would she? Tana Mojo don't care that James Charles does it either. But Jeffree Star gets in videos and says that he's going after straight men, and don't nobody take an issue with it, but James Charles does it, and the world goes crazy, right? I think it's both bad. I think it's both sick. I think it both makes gay men look bad, okay? I think it makes us look horrible, is what I think, okay? And so, stop it. Just stop it right now. And Jeffree Star, you ain't fucking nobody anyway, okay? Like, that is such a sad story to me. It's like the fact that, and nobody cares, okay? I've said this for 5 years. Nobody cares any more about Jeffree Star's sex life than they do mine, okay? He's one day hinting out about starting an OnlyFans, about how to teach people how to give head. Girl, I don't think nobody's asking. It don't take a whole lot to sucky, okay? I don't think nobody's wanting to see Jeffree Star's OnlyFans. And when that day comes, if it comes, that is a sad day in reality, okay? And for all of you out there that are like, oh, Jeffree Star has all this money. Girl, ask yourself this question. This is the one question I would ask yourself. If tomorrow you woke up, he is supposedly worth $200 million, okay? If tomorrow you woke up and you had $200 million in the bank, all right? And you have the ability to work on yourself, be in therapy, go to retreats, travel the world. Why would you sit in a closet on TikTok battles with people you don't ever know and you ain't going to meet, call them a bunch of pookies, okay? For what? That is sad to me. That's the sad downfall of Jeffree Star, okay? Shane Dawson ought to come out and do a new documentary about that. Instead of the beautiful world of Jeffree Star, how about the sad-ass downfall of Jeffree Star? Because that's sad, okay? Well, anyway, people started sending me stuff that apparently Trisha Paytas is now decided that she's not going to do the podcast, and apparently she is deleting clips, okay? She's deleting, I don't know, clips or videos of her and Jeffree Star together. I don't know how people figure this out, okay? But apparently she's doing this. Well, I saw this thing. Somebody sent me this thing from the Trisha Pop Crave or Trisha Crave, or there's all these Crave accounts now, okay? But anyway, a couple people sent this to me, and then a couple people also sent me that people were tagging her on stuff on TikTok of horrible shit that he had said about her. Like people that were fans of hers and were like protective of her were tagging her in stuff on TikTok where he had come out and said horrible shit about her. Now, I didn't go in and look at all that, but I did go in and look at this, this Trish Crave. Okay, it's Trish Crave. Hold on here. It's like Pop Crave, but it's like Trish Crave. A lot of people got their own. I think Oscar has his own too. It's called Oscar Crave or something like that. I don't have my own, but I don't listen. Don't even worry about it. Feeding you all the things surrounding the queen of the internet, Trisha Paytas. Well, I don't know if I'm going to agree that she's the queen of the internet, okay? And it's definitely not Dorit Kemsley. That's for sure, okay? I don't know who it is right now. Maybe Mary from Real Housewives of Salt Lake. Anyway, so it says on here, Trisha Paytas seemingly cancels collaboration with Jeffree Star as fans spot deleted content between the duo. But that's like all it says, right? So apparently fans are spotting all this stuff that she's deleting. I didn't get that, but I did get people that message me, direct message me. If you want me to cover a story, direct message me on Instagram, okay? I don't hardly ever go to Twitter unless there's something I gotta look up, okay? I can't stand the Twitter. So anyway, if you want me to cover something, direct message me on Instagram. So a couple people had messaged me and said, are you seeing that Trisha's getting tagged and stuff, shitty stuff that Jeffree Star said about her? I went in and I looked at a couple things, and it wasn't like they weren't any TikToks that were getting a lot of traction. So anyway, I wanted to go underneath here and read what people had to say. Okay, now you have to remember, this is a Twitter account in defense of Trisha Paytas. Okay, so it's not going to be a lot of people coming out for Trisha Paytas. Although, interestingly enough, on Trisha Paytas' own Twitter back in the day was where she got the most negativity. So I don't know. I went through and read some of these. Somebody said, this one's horrible, I won't read it, but somebody said, good. Somebody said, knew this was coming, but I'm mad about it. Somebody said, what content was deleted? There's a response. Somebody said, there was clips resurfacing of Jeffree completely treating Trish like shit, but not making it obvious, so people started pointing it out on TikTok. Oh, to get Trisha to see. So it's probably those clips from the older videos. Okay. Somebody said, why? Somebody said, I feel like this was for the best. Jeffree doesn't seem to be on the same growth and healing track as Trisha. Somebody said, it's unfortunate, but I know it's for the best. Slay Diva made the right choice. Somebody said, what the F? Ugh, I've been waiting for this. I don't understand why people have been waiting for this, okay? It's going to be so fake. It's going to be Trisha and Jeffree acting like they're going to talk about what happened in the past. And Jeffree's going to be like, girl, you know we're good. I'm really sorry about that happened. She's not going to hold him to the fire, okay? If she did, she would have released that podcast. If that was Trisha being like, you did some horrific shit to me. This is the other thing that I think people forget, right? Is because when I made my last video about it, I got a couple comments from people that said, well, you don't remember what Trisha did to Jeffree during Vegas, blah, blah, blah. Trisha has come out and spoken about Las Vegas, okay? She's come out in very authentic videos. I felt like they were very authentic videos. And she said what a horrible state she was in, okay? I'm not going to get into all that. That's her story to tell. But where she was at, okay, mentally and emotionally and other things that were going on at the time that she went to Las Vegas. She's come out and addressed that, all right? So, and not only that, but lost her who she thought was one of her best friends, Shane Dawson, in the process of this. So, unless she was going to get in this podcast and be like, Jeffree, what you did to me was horrible, okay? The way that you spoke to me, the way that Hair by Jay spoke to me, I know, girl, blah, 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 whatever. Well, he still does your hair, okay? you've never really come out and never addressed that. Unless she was going to, bit by bit, say these things. Okay, if it wasn't going to just be a kumbaya moment of we're good, blah, 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 whatever, and then, hey, I'm releasing my 10th anniversary, and weren't those the times back in the old day, and he's crossed his legs, and, oh, yes, girl, and yes, and blah, 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 whatever, and what happened with you and Manny and Laura? Oh, girl, you know, they wanted to be me, I'm always the villain, blah, 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 without actually addressing what really went on behind the scenes. I mean, it is kind of, people think it's, you know, whenever I make these videos, people are like, who cares about this, Peter? Like, you're still bringing up the same shit from 5 years ago. Jeffree Star's sitting on multiple couches still talking about what happened from 6 years ago, okay? The difference is I'll at least come out and say what really was going down, okay? I'll come out and say what his differences were with Manny MUA. I'll come out and say what his differences were with Laura Lee and that she was collateral damage, okay? I'll come out and say what his issues were with all these people. He won't. He'll sit there and feed a bunch of bullshit out, but he's still talking about it, isn't he? Because it's the only thing he's got that's relevant. Because don't nobody care about who Jeffree Star's dating anymore because everybody knows Jeffree Star ain't dating that person. I said it 5 years ago, everybody was like, yes, he is. Today, everybody, they're like, girl, she ain't dating that person. That cowboy he's taking pictures with in Nashville, girl, give me a break. Put a ring on it, okay? He ain't dating that person. Somebody said, and I don't understand why everybody wants this podcast so bad. It would be boring to sin anyway. The only thing anybody wants it about is the two of them together because they got along and then they disliked each other so much, okay? But they're not going to address the fallout. They're not going to have it out. If they did, they would release the fucking podcast. It would be internet gold. That's not what it was, okay? It was a kiss-ass moment on both of their parts and Jeffree Star selling his shitty makeup. That's what it was. And Trisha Paytas is not willing to have a lot of her fans go crazy and be pissed off at her because she didn't hold him to the grind over his selling of his makeup. That's where she's smart, and that's what I've said. So if she does release it, okay, she gonna release it a week from now or 2 weeks from now, okay? When don't nobody care about his newest release anymore. And that's the shade that she'll get in. Oh, okay, I agree that I released this podcast. I'll release the podcast. It ain't gonna hurt me. I said that in my last video. It ain't gonna hurt Trisha Paytas. Some of her fans might be like, this was a bad choice, okay? And I think that you didn't hold Jeffree Star accountable, you know, and whatever. But I don't think that she's going to lose a lot over it. It's going to be a win-win for Trisha Paytas. But if she says, I'm going to release that podcast when I want to, okay, not when they agreed to it, which I think they agreed to it to be released like Tana Mojo, okay, before the release of the palette for sales. Okay? Her shade is being like, oh no, I'm going to make you wait on this podcast. Okay? Not to mention, I'm kind of wondering if she didn't talk to Tana Mojo. Because after the Tana Mojo podcast, okay, was done filming, Jeffree Star's on TikTok Live, Tana Mojo and Brooke Schofield, okay, are on a Patreon Live, and everybody in their Patreon Live is coming at them being like, why did you platform Jeffree Star? Why did you interview Jeffree Star? Okay? Everybody is dogging them. When you watch that clip of Jeffree Star on his TikTok, it is so uncomfortable. He's like got one ear trying to listen to what they're saying because he's so concerned. But it's so uncomfortable. It's like, you can tell in that moment, he realizes people don't really like him. And that it's always been this smoke and mirrors. And you can see in that moment of that TikTok, and he's like, girl, it doesn't matter what they say. You can tell, like, I mean, it's uncomfortable to watch. I mean, that was probably one moment in time that I've kind of felt bad for Jeffree Star. You know? I mean, I'm not saying that he's not deserving of it, but it kind of made me sad. It's like he just got on this podcast and got done with this podcast, and he watched the podcast, and he's like, yes, girl, oh, I lost my vape. Where's my vape? I'm always high, blah, blah, blah. Yes, girl, if you knew what happened, girl. And then afterwards, he's like standing around the corner while they're doing their TikTok Live, and all these people are like dogging him for being on their or all these people are dogging him in their Patreon Live, and he's on a TikTok Live, and he's saying all this shit, and then anyway, it was a mess for Tana and Brooke Schofield, okay? And Jeffree started saying all this kind of stuff about their Morphe palette and all this kind of stuff, and it was a mess for Tana and Brooke. Well, Tana and Trisha are close. Tana and Trisha just started a new podcast, okay? Which I think is weird that just, I mean, they talked about this like 4 years ago that they were going to do this podcast. And then all of a sudden it comes to fruition. Since Jeffree Star filmed his podcast, I'm not entirely sure that entire Trisha Paytas, Tana Mojo, that love connection, unloved connection, or whatever it's called, not love line. I'm not sure that entire releasing of that podcast wasn't kind of a diss at Jeffree Star. Like, you're going to fuck us. We're going to put a whole podcast together and release it before I even release your podcast episode. I'm not entirely sure that Tina wasn't like, Trisha, you better not, because you're going to get the same shit I did if you release that, Trisha. I'm not sure that conversation didn't happen behind the scenes, okay? But what I don't understand is why people want that podcast so bad. I mean, like I said, I'd watch it to cover it, but no, I wasn't hopeful that any real growth or truth was going to be exposed on there. Somebody said, my question is, why do people want it? Thank you so much, Holly. She said, my question is, why do people want this collab to happen? He was so hurtful to her. Somebody said, thank goodness, that one, she doesn't need to that's one book she doesn't need to reopen. Good, keep that evil energy away from you and your baby. Somebody said, what content was deleted? Anyway, I don't want Jeffree back. And somebody responded and said, I just want to see the podcast. Somebody said, it's good because she shouldn't have done in the first place, but, okay, GD, do I want to see that interview? It was going to be boring. Who was going to care about it? Nothing was going to happen on that podcast. If it did, Trisha would release it. Trisha is smart enough to know that when she is sitting on internet gold, release that shit, okay? Like that Lady Gaga standing in her kitchen. She knew that shit was gold, okay? If she was sitting on a podcast where she looked over there and took off one of her cosplay wigs and said, Jeffree, this is some bullshit, okay? This is some bullshit. You lost a 10-year friendship of me between me and Shane Dawson. All right? You never took my side in that whole situation. You never stood up for me. Now, because you want to sell some makeup, you had Hair by Jay saying all shit about me. You had the whole internet coming for me. Now that I'm in a good place and I got my own podcast, you want to sit in that chair and sell your shitty ass makeup and come here and act like nothing happened between us and we've been good all along? That's what people want. If that was the podcast and Jeffree Star looked at her and said, Trisha, I'm really sorry for what I did. He can't do that. If he looked at her and he said, I'm really sorry for what I did, Trisha. I treated you like shit, and so did Hair by Jay. And by association, I should have stood up for you at that point. And I should have told Shane that maybe you guys could work things out, that maybe it was a relationship that was worth it. But I didn't feel like I needed to get involved. And she looked at him and said, you know what, Jeffree? I did some real shitty stuff to you too. And I need to take responsibility for that. That's a moment I'd like to see. Y'all think that's a moment that was on that podcast? You think that's filmed sitting somewhere on a shelf? If that podcast is filmed, Trisha Paytas would post it tomorrow. That is not what happened. It's a bullshit podcast interview of them kissing ass and being nice. That interview that I just said, which is what we all want, does not exist. It's a Jeffree Star rewriting history again. And I'll say this one thing. Tina Mojo will sit by James Charles and Jeffree Star and all these other people. This is why Tina Mojo and Trisha Paytas are both kind of bullshit. But I mean, Trisha Paytas, this is where she is a little real for this shit. Is that she lived it. And Trisha Paytas not only lived it, but she watched all the drama channels at that time. Tina Mojo wasn't watching the drama channels. Trisha Paytas, she was watching all the drama channels. She made videos about Toddy Westbrook. She knew what was going on at that time, okay? She knew. She ain't gonna let Jeffree Star sit on her couch and rewrite history and post that video, and people are gonna know that Trisha knew about it. So then it puts her in a pickle, right? What do I do? Because people know how closely I was aligned with the drama channels, watching the drama channels. She would comment on her videos. She made her own drama videos about Dramageddon at that time. How's she going to come out and just nod and be cute with Jeffree Star when he wants to sit there and rewrite history that she knows is bullshit? Shane Dawson named a fucking palette, a pan name after her. How is she going to sit there and act like her best friend wasn't telling her this shit about the drama when I know from drama channels that how is she going to sit there and act like she don't know what was going on at the time when Jeffree Star wants to sit there and rewrite history? She can't. So then she's going to be called out as being a liar by all of us because we all know the truth. And we know Trisha was in it thick at the time, okay? And that she was good friends with Shane Dawson and that she knew what was going on behind the scenes. So if she sits there and she doesn't call him out, we're all going to call her on her bullshit, okay? And then she's part of the rewriting of history. What does she do? She should never have invited the man on her podcast to begin with. I don't know why people want this podcast to happen. Somebody said, understand, but I'm kind of sad. I think she's grown enough. She could hold her boundaries. No, she put herself... You know, I'll never forget watching the Trisha Paytas interview with Gabby Hanna years ago, okay? And I could sit there. I was sitting there watching the end of it. And it was like Gabby just wouldn't let it end. She just kept on going on and going on and going on. And I could just sense. I was so uncomfortable watching it. And I said in one of my videos, I was like, you could tell Trisha was like, girl, we're good. I want the fuck out of here, okay? And I'll never forget. Trisha, she messaged me, right after that. She's like, you saw exactly what I was thinking in that moment. Something like that, right? Trisha goes, she wants her podcast to be successful. She's worked really hard at this podcast. Her podcast is successful, okay? I think Oscar is a great host for her. I think the podcast is a good move for her. I don't know that she's willing to risk it all over, and I don't think she'd lose it all over Jeffree Star, but I don't think she's willing to risk being back in the spotlight of drama, it's not worth it to her. She don't need drama to sell that podcast. Jeffree Star needs drama, and Jeffree Star needs Trisha and Tana to sell his makeup, because his makeup ain't selling. For all those people out there that want to believe it's selling like hotcakes over there on TikTok, that's bullshit. If it was, it'd be sold out on his website. So I don't know. You think we'll ever see the podcast? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.